Welcome back to the further adventures of the monad. We have started this series of recaps by looking at the principles of Hylozoics and where the whole story of creation starts. In the beginning, there was the antiverse, not the Word. That is where it all starts. But what comes next? Here the Word enters stage left and says, "Let there be light." The Word is the principal actor in our universe. But what is the Word? It is a monad. And so we start this presentation by defining what a monad is in all its stages of evolution. The core principle in Hylozoics is that there is only matter anywhere. All phenomena are composed of matter, even what we think of as spiritual events. This matter has two further attributes. It is in motion, due to it possessing unlimited energy, and it is conscious in one of four possible states: potential, passive, active, and self-aware. So, if matter is the basis of all that is, what is this matter, and does it have a definable unit? Enter the monad. Pythagoras told his followers that the smallest unit of matter was called the monad. This term has been used frequently in esoteric literature, but is often used incorrectly. The reason for this stems from where the theosophical movement placed the monad in the hierarchy of creation. They placed it second from the top in their pantheon. The first mistake is that everything is a monad. When you get down to the fundamental units of being, there is only the monad. The monad is therefore at the top and at the bottom of any list. It is just everywhere. So to say you have a monad and it is lower than something else that is also a monad is plain daft. Now, I am prepared to cut the theosophical movement some slack and say that Paramatman is the monadic essence, and the monad presented on plane 44 is a monadic envelope. But this misses the point. All monads are in envelopes, unless you are on plane 1, either at the start or at the end of your evolutionary cycle. There, I am glad I have got that out of my system. Now, back to our monad. Clearly, this little chap is awesome. It may start off being totally unconscious in the antiverse, but what potential it has. This presentation is going to cover 3 episodes from the Further Adventure series, by first looking at the monad, then at the planes of matter, and finally at the circulations of monads throughout the universe. All 3 presentations were about the monad, just looking at different aspects of it. When we talk about our evolution, conventional theology talks about the soul and maybe a spirit, which may or may not differentiate from the soul. But these terms are talking about states of consciousness and levels of envelopes. They are not talking about the one primary, unalterable lump of matter/being. This matter is going to remain unchanged, no matter how you designate where it resides and how it functions. That is why it is just more economical with your thinking processes if you start to reason always in terms of the monad and its evolution. Do not focus on the evolution of the overcoats it may happen to be wearing at any moment in time. So there you have it. We have our monad. It starts in the antiverse as an unconscious lump of matter. Along comes the Word, a fully conscious monad, and rudely thrusts this poor defenseless monad into a psychodrama that is called a universe. Where do we go from here? The first thing to realize is that the monad has just undergone a major change. It now finds itself in an environment where it is able to move. The only way it can interact with any other monad is via something it does not possess yet. What is that? Consciousness, of course. The monad came from an environment where it has limitless potential. It now finds itself in an environment that is precisely defined by a set of laws that are laid out by one monad. This monad is called the Absolute, and it is responsible for bringing monads into creation. The hapless monad is aware of none of this. It is, however, about to form the foundation of everything else that is to follow. So let's review what this monad has going for it. It is very small as you can get. It is stuffed full of limitless supplies of energy, and it has a magnetic field around it. At present, this magnetic field is not doing a whole lot, except keeping it away from any other monad. How this monad progresses from here is not decided by the Absolute, but by a triumvirate of monads called the first, second, and third logos. They and their cohort of less conscious monads are about to build out a universe, and the only building blocks they have are those tiny monads. Buzzing around on the highest plane of matter is fine and dandy, but these monads are so energetic that, like hyperactive children, if you want to teach them anything, you have to get them to sit down and concentrate. How do our creator gods do that? They start to restrict the freedom of our hyperactive monads. They do this by grabbing hold of 49 of them and fusing them into a ring. The monads are not squashed together as they were in the antiverse, but they have effectively been given a straitjacket called an envelope. This word envelope is going to appear in all discussions and on all planes of matter going forward. Everything below plane 1 is surrounded by an envelope. On plane 2, that envelope comprises 49 monads. The effect of joining these monads together into a necklace is that they lose one dimension. They previously operated in a 49-dimensional universe, and now they are down to only 48. Boo-hoo. This envelope shields some of the monad's massive energy. If this process is repeated, you take the necklace of 49 monads and join it with another 48 necklaces. You now have another envelope, another loss of dimensional space, and another lower plane of matter. This process repeats itself another 46 times until you finally end up 49 planes below plane 1. This is a lot of envelopes, but more importantly, there has been a dramatic loss of energy. Is this a problem? Not if you want to develop the one thing the monad did not have functioning on the first plane, and that is consciousness. This brings us neatly to what the monad is doing. It is being passed from one plane of matter and one envelope to a lower one. In the 42nd highest planes of matter, this monad has been unconscious. It has formed a matrix for conscious monads on those 42 planes to carry out their activities. Things are about to change though. One of those three mighty logi is about to blow their trumpet and propel our monad into the cosmic physical kingdom, starting on plane 43. In the process of doing this, the monad wakes up and becomes passively conscious. What does this mean? It means that other more advanced monads can use these hapless monads to think and feel. These are two examples from our field of experience. They have no say in the matter, but there is a payoff. By being used and abused in this manner by more conscious monads, the monad is able to wake up even more. We will get back to that later. What we need to clearly establish for the moment is that monads circulate round all the planes of matter, 3 times to be precise. During this circulation, they incorporate into larger and larger structures. The net result of this is that they are losing a degree of dimension as they descend each plane. They are also shielding their environment from the inherent energy they would exhibit if they were not encased within one envelope after another. By the time they enter the cosmic physical kingdom, they have reached an energetic state where supreme beings can begin to switch on a fundamental component of every monad. That is its consciousness. This allows conscious monads functioning on those lower planes to interact with these monads and cause them to wake up further. Once a monad has hit rock bottom, literally and metaphorically, it begins the slow process of shedding the envelopes. These envelopes have shielded their fellow monads from their innate glory. To perform this striptease, the monad has to develop its consciousness. In doing so, one envelope after another falls away. This reveals a higher plane of matter and one more dimension. Previously, the monad was a workhorse for everything that was going on around it. As the monad gains consciousness, it actively joins in the process of creation and evolution. This is not just for itself, but for all other monads that it shares a common consciousness with. This is the whole point of creating a universe in the first place. Thank you, Absolute. See you in the next presentation.